A volunteer is helping others from the kindness of your heart.
Catholic schools exist almost exclusively to carry on this tradition of our faith. But I have a philosophy: if you're going to have a Catholic school, let's make it an excellent school. It is important for us not only to rely upon the sacrifices of teachers, administrators, and other staff, and to continue to rely on the sacrifices of parishioners, but also, in addition, to ask parents and grandparents and others who have children in the school to be able to offer some volunteer time as well.
I think it's very important for parents to volunteer at school because they get to meet your teachers and your friends, and they're kind of like a role model for students, and telling them that you need to help in life instead of just receive.
My favorite part of my mom being at St. Paul's School is when we get to see each other.
My children like to see me in the school. I think they pick up from seeing me around their friends, and that they can talk about so-and-so when we get home, and I know who they're talking about, or I can ask questions about, hey, how did they do, because I was a little bit part of a given day.
We look at St. Paul as an extension of our family. So I'm handing my children over a third of their day to a school that I want to make sure that they're getting the very best education and experience at. And so for us, it's a priority. And so if we have to say no to other things so that we can volunteer here, like for example, my husband travels all the time, but he's always volunteering and being an assistant coach in a sport. So we try to do what we can to make sure that our kids understand how important it is for us that we're involved in their school.
I kind of make room for it. It's one of those things, once you put it on your calendar, and you just got to get into the habit of doing. When you're in that routine, it's hard to get out of that routine.
I like seeing my parents volunteer anywhere I go because it just makes me feel like they're always supporting me and that they'll always be there to help me.
It just shows them how much they are loved by their parents. When they see that maybe some of the parents are working and they see that they actually took a day off work to come into the classroom, whether it's to go on a field trip or whether it's to read to the kids as a storytime reader. They get this sense of love that they are taking ownership in their education.
Teachers, our administrators, our staff have made this school an excellent school, along with the support of the parents and the whole community of St. Paul's.
Being a teacher and also being a parent is kind of double chair, because the students say, "Senora, what are you doing here in the cafeteria?" I say, "Why not? I am a mom as well. I want to share that also. I have another life, but you don't need to be here, Senora. You belong at this classroom." I say, "No, I belong with the community."
I hope they learn that they've got to give back to the community, that you don't just take things, that hopefully they realize that you're here, not just for the worship and everything else, but you've got to give back. You've got to make sure that they see you living the life you want them to lead.
Volunteerism is the foundation of any school to make it a well-rounded student. And ever since I've been here at St. Paul's, whether it was when I was a child attending St. Paul's from first grade through 8th, or as a teacher now for 11 years, I have always been amazed and overwhelmed of all the participation from everyone.
Well, when I first taught here, we didn't have aides, and we counted on volunteers heavily. They made it possible for us to reach a large number of small children. It's hard to give enough individual attention if you're in the room by yourself with a lot of little children. The volunteers fill that in beautifully. Not only does it help the class, but it helps the parents. It pulls them into the program. It helps them to see what's going on. And in particular, if they don't understand exactly what's going on, this is an excellent way to help them and have them help you at the same time.
It is important for me to put my kids first. So volunteering my time at St. Paul's may be difficult sometimes, but I think it's important to myself and to the kids.
I have learned from the parents volunteering at St. Paul, because It shows me that like when I do a service, it's helping other people out and it's just doing the right thing. It's what God would want us to do.
My mom, when she volunteers, she always makes me smile.
I've learned a lot about the importance of when parents volunteer because it just makes you feel good and you get the sense that you're helping others.
There's so many different ways that we can use parents. I love it when you have a class size of the size that we have. I have parents read with the students. I have them do math activities and games, practicing their math facts with them. So it's not just making bulletin boards and filing papers, it's also working with the children as well.
It kind of creates security for the kids. An environment where they know they have a lot of people that care about them. And ultimately, they're going to learn better. You know, when they have that, all that support around them, I mean, it makes a huge difference. And I can't say this enough, and I tell the kids this, that we're blessed to be here and have what we have.
Tuition does not cover the entire cost that it takes to educate a child. The per pupil cost is not covered by tuition. And the difference there is made up by the parishioners of the parish who very gladly support the school. And it's also made up by service projects and fund drives which the parents and the whole community have to support. We need, however, to stress a little bit more the idea of volunteer hours at this time in our school's history.
I think to get more people to volunteer at St. Paul, we have to help educate people on really the opportunities that we have and really how the school operates. In order for us to have all of the extracurricular activities, in order for us to have all of the clubs, in order for us to have some of the field trips that we do, all of the things that help enrich our kids' experience here at St. Paul, that we all need to contribute and do that. All these fundraisers support all of the things that go on in the school. And unlike the public schools, we can't, have a bond levy anytime that we need additional support for the school. So I think helping parents understand that we really need that kind of help would be important.
For a new parent volunteer, I would suggest them starting small, possibly in their child's classroom, so they get to know the teacher and the other students, and then maybe find something else that interests them, like a once in a while committee, something not too overwhelming. I started with the funeral lunches, dropping off a meal when I had small children. It was really easy. But then you kind of find your spot.
I am mostly where the kids are. That's where my strengths are, I feel. And so I am the room mom, I'm the discipleship mom, I am in the cafeteria, I'm in the nurse's office, the Santa shop, wherever the kids are, that's where I end up wanting to be also.
There's opportunities for the career days or the science fair to kind of share your knowledge as whatever type of professional you are with the young students here. Another area that has been really great for me is kind of the social part of meeting lots of other adults who have children in the same school, the same age. That's been wonderful too in terms of the social richness that it's brought for us.
There's a ton of different options to volunteer at St. Paul. A cafeteria I like to do also, but you can also be in charge of a larger event such as silent auction or being in charge of the Secret Santa committee or things like that. So I feel like whatever your talent is or whatever you feel you're best able to offer, you certainly have that chance at St. Paul.
One thing I've learned is that if you make mistakes as a volunteer, they can always be corrected, so you don't have to worry about being perfect. The support you get from the staff, the parents, and the students is fantastic.
One of the most rewarding things about being here at St. Paul and volunteering is getting to know more and more people throughout the church. We are a big church and a big part of the diocese. We're the largest in the diocese. But to make that feel smaller is the more things you do, the more at home it feels. It may feel like a gigantic church with tons and tons of people, but all of a sudden when you see someone over there that you know that you volunteered with, or someone over here that you know that you volunteered with, or you're sitting next to somebody just by chance, and all of a sudden you start talking to them and they've volunteered or done something, or they had their kid had the same teachers as you had. All of a sudden everything that seems gigantic becomes really, really small and really, really tight. And that's what makes it feel like a family here, even though there's thousands of parishioners.
Cha-cha is jumping, jumping, jumping. Cha-cha-cha is J.
Pope Francis, who has been Pope now since last March, has very much emphasized that he wants to see a poor church to serve the poor. And this is something that we are very much emphasizing at St. Paul School and throughout the Catholic community. And so there's a phrase, the preferential option for the poor, that Catholics employ. We should always try to make the least among us the first in our charitable works and in our thoughts.
One thing I reflect on is kind of the words of our new Pope about kind of a call to service. And so there's lots of ways to do that, of course, but one way, and this community here in Westerville, is to be part of this organization and this school, this atmosphere.
The most rewarding thing about volunteering is actually feeling like you're improving the quality of the experience for your kids. So our kids pay attention to what we pay attention to, and we can talk a lot to our kids about stewardship or about having a servant's heart, but when we don't really spend the time doing those things, it sends a message to them. So I love the fact that they see us involved in the school, they see us involved in the sports, and they know that we care about, the environment that they're in a third of their day.
We are Catholic schools, and that's what we really are. That's what we are about, is to pass on the Catholic tradition.
We need all parents to come and help us here at St. Paul's School.
Come to St. Paul to volunteer. It's a really good cause and we could always use your help.
Come volunteer at St. Paul. It'll be the experience of a lifetime.
Come volunteer at St. Paul School. You'll love it.
God bless St. Paul School and St. Paul Parish.